Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Item number 1 is approval to enter into a professional services contract with Dancy Sullivan for professional consulting and forensic services related to the Paul Coverdell Forensic Science Improvement Grant. Chief, welcome.
Thank you, Council. This is up to $15,000. This will be the last time we have to do this. Basically, kind of go through, it's a grant that pays for us to double check our ballistics work. Our forensics director has to verify, and then until our guy in training gets certified, that has to be verified through another company to make sure it's accurate. So he's very close to being certified, so we'll have a couple more months of this and then we'll be done with it.
Where do you go to get certified, Chief?
Lots and lots of hours in training and ballistics and tool
You
marks.
don't go to
Where?
Quantico or something?
No, sir, it's all done in-house. Mitch Rector does all of our certification right now. This is another forensics director at another location that double checks our work to make sure it's accurate.
Is all of this covered by this grant?
Yes, sir, it is.
It
Every
is?
bit of it.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Item number 2 is approval of minor public works contract with Alabama Stage Productions. The total is $3741.64. Welcome, Ms. Kay.
Thank you.
I vote
Good
yes.
afternoon. What did you say?
I vote yes.
Thank you. So good afternoon. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a minor public works contract in the amount of $3,741 with Alabama Stage Productions to replace some acoustical panels on the stage located at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. And the funding will come out of repairs and supplies at the end.
Motion.
Questions?
Second.
We got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Kay, before you leave,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted you to know that we went by, of course, we saw you at the Arts Festival this weekend, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, there were a lot of people, a lot of great vendors, the music was good, food. It was good to see that many people downtown. And then I also want to thank my cohort here, Colonel Busby, on the gauntlet in my district. I think it was a neat event.
It's brutal.
It was a brutal event for some of them there. It would have been really brutal for us.
You want to get a team together with the
Well,
council
I think
next
we
year?
might do that next year, Chip. What do you
Listen,
We got in the ice skating races on the ring.
And the hope would be that we would be done by the time we had council on Tuesday.
that
We'd
was,
still
Out of the
we'd still
hospital? You
be
mean
out
out of
there
the
lost.
hospital, right?
Huh?
You mean out of the
Yeah.
hospital,
Now,
right?
especially, the thing that scares me is the rope. But I watch them doing that. But anyway, it was very well attended, and the weather was so much better. Last year it was really, really cold. But I would
It
say,
was.
I mean, Lee, I don't know about numbers, but it just looked to me, there was a pretty good bit more attendance. And I guess people that were involved in it, athletes. It
Just
was
were up.
two great
The
events.
Spectators were way up.
Yeah, it
Thank
was a
you.
great event. Thank you to you
I
and your
just wanted to
team.
say on behalf of the special events, Nicole Moreno-Laque and her team, and Matt Jones did the entertainment, and there's just so many people that come together throughout the city that really make these events a huge success. We couldn't do it alone, so thank you for recognizing them. I'll make sure that they're aware.
Yeah,
I think both Raven and I ended up by default in the role of event coordinator for ours, and you don't have to worry, there's not going to be any competition for your job out of either one of us.
but
Well, glad to hear that.
you know, we had a lot of events going on in our city this past weekend. And I know that the gauntlet was a highlight of the day, as well as the festivals that we had. But also there was the track meet. I know that you didn't have anything to do with it, but the track meet that was at Central High School
great.
was very well attended, and I was there with.
Including my grandson.
Yeah,
Grant.
yes, sir. So it was when I tell you it was well attended, and we had children from all over the state as well as out of state that came to compete. So Tuscaloosa, we did a great job of hosting a lot of events this week.
I appreciate that, and we look forward to more to come. Now on to Mayor's Cup, so I hope you're all registered to walk or run in that. Yes.
We're gonna-
And
we're
our
gonna
first concert's next
something.
Thursday, so, yeah.
Wow.
Thank
Wow.
you. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you. No, we got to run.
Item
now. We
number
got to
3
jog,
is
so-
authorization for execution of an agreement with ADECA. No, wrong thing, sorry. Y'all messed me up, did you not? See, that's, Vicky, you didn't tell me that, but I called you. And I need all the help I can get. Authorization of a letter of support for the University of Alabama's application for DOT FY 2023 low or no emission bus grant program. Welcome, Katie Beth.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So this is a request for the city to provide a letter of support to the University of Alabama for their grant application that they plan to submit next week. They're applying to the Federal Transit Administration, and they have asked for our letter of support if we approve it by the end of this week for them to meet their timeline for that. And so for that reason, this item is doubled up on this committee's agenda and also at council tonight, as Scott mentioned at pre-council. The city's financial obligation for this request is nothing. However, just a couple details about the grant if you're interested. The UA is applying for a total of $14 million that they would split 85% federal, 15% UA. And that money would be invested into the Crimson Ride transit fleet that serves the student body. They would basically buy electric vehicle buses, also the charging infrastructure that supports those, and the workforce development and training that they are doing over the next 5 years to basically transition their fleet to fully electric. They're also collaborating with Stillman College and Shelton State on this grant application.
That's good to hear.
That's good. That's
Can I ask that question?
May I ask,
Yes, sir.
when do they think it'll be electric bus?
For themselves, they are hoping, last year was year 1 for them out of 5, and they're hoping by the end of year 5, they will be fully electric on campus.
That's gonna be a change for the whole city.
Well, that's on campus.
Yeah.
That's right. I will say
things
they-
bleed out, Mr. Fail.
They
bleed out.
would love to collaborate with PATA on a funding round,
I don't like it, but yeah.
to get this going for PATA, for Parking and Transit Authority for the county and
Wow.
the agency that we fund. So that may be coming at some point, just to put that on your radar, but for now, it's
These
campus.
buses will be cheap, I'm sure.
I think they're about $1 million per.
Wow.
$1 million per bus?
You need one of those, don't you, Mr.
No,
Tyler?
sir.
It's flown on air, I believe.
Any other questions, or I would entertain a motion to
Yes.
approve?
So moved.
Second, this is just a letter of recommendation.
A letter of support for them to put in the application.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Now, Vicki, we're on item number 4, right?
We sure are.
Okay, just checking. Authorization to execute an agreement with ADECA for program year 2022 Emergency Solutions Grant Program.
Yes.
Perry has made his triumphant return to the committee.
Thank you for
Welcome,
having
Perry.
me. Thank you for having me. Yes, as you said, this is authorization for us to execute an agreement with the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs for our program year 2022 Emergency Solutions Grant in the amount of $100,000. This money, as you remember, covers supports our homeless activities such as rapid rehousing, street outreach, emergency shelter operations, and other essential services that we actually provide to, as you will see in the next item, to Salvation Army, Turning Point, and temporary emergency services.
Repair, can you refresh my mind on rapid rehousing?
It's essentially to prevent someone that's almost at that threshold, try to get them back into housing as quickly as we can.
Gotcha. Okay.
Questions?
Yeah, so this and the next two, LaPerry, are these entirely separate from the
They're-
1.7 million we
Yes,
dealt with
that
last?
is a totally
That's-
different grant.
This is 2022 in the back, right?
Yes, this is a total different.
Totally different pot of money.
Yes. The
So,
1.7 is from HUD, this is from ADECA.
okay. So this is asking us to approve a resolution to enter into an agreement with the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs.
Yes, we are
Are
required
we
to,
sending this,
it is going to them, it's actually,
going
it's
to
the
them.
grant agreement.
huh?
It's the grant agreement. We have to have authorization from the mayor as the authorizing official to sign, to accept the 100,000.
So we're not turning around,
We have to have
We have
the
to
mayor's
have, we
approval
have
to
to have the
receive.
mayor's approval to receive the funding first, then we send it back.
Yeah.
and
so
then-
we're sending it back,
No,
we're getting it.
the
sending
grant
it back.
agreement is approving for us to receive the funds, and then the next one, we are actually allocating it to.
How
a
we're
service.
spending the money.
How we're spending the
Right.
money.
Okay.
It's the way we do with all our grant agreements. We have to get authorization first.
Yeah, I know, just like the bus agreement, because if it's got a matching tail along
Correct.
with it, it is effectively an expenditure
Correct.
of taxpayer money. Is this, so I know the 1.7 million we dealt with last week
Correct.
is homeless prevention,
Rental-
remedy and
Mhm.
focus, right?
Correct.
And here's another 100 and another 100, what,
It's
how much?
100,000.
How much is flowing through us to go towards homeless prevention?
Right now would be the 1.7 and
That's,
it's 100,000.
these are it,
That's correct.
okay. And flowing through is the right description, like this is federal money coming into you.
And we also have an additional that we are working on the action plan right now. We have not released the NOFA. I think Heather spoke about that. A NOFA again, I know I'm using
Yeah.
acronyms, but it's
What?
a NOFA. It's a notice of funding availability, which would be come along in the next couple of weeks to you all. But in the home program, where we can provide additional homeless activities or services to our citizens, we are getting, I want to say it's right at 428,000, but there are some percentages that we have to abide by that, so that amount is actually reduced before we even get all that percentage out, so.
Okay, I don't,
Look, so Harry, on something like this, when we get that 100,000, do we have any admin
No,
costs? Not on
no,
this?
this is not enough to even, yeah.
Well, I mean, I just noticed it all added up to 100, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
Can I ask, about how many people are we touching with all this money?
Well, usually we get, since the state got a reduction, we obviously, as you can see, we got a reduction. We usually get between 200,000, 250,000. So on average, we actually go back, as you can see in the next agenda item, and do the accomplishment data for each agency that we fund who submitted a proposal, which are the three that you will see. And depends on, roughly, it varies. It can be anywhere from 50 to 100 per year or more
50 to 100 people.
per year. Because it's based off the amount. It's based off the amount. And these services are expensive, especially when you get down in utilities, rent, and all that.
Other questions?
So moved.
So,
Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 5 is authorization for execution of agency funding agreement for the 2022 Emergency Solutions Grant Program. LaPerry?
And as mentioned before, this is the amount, that 100,000 that has been allocated to, in your package, you'll see the serve recipients, the Salvation Army for services for emergency shelter operations, homeless prevention, and rapid rehousing in the amount of 47,000. Temporary emergency services for street outreach and homeless prevention in the amount of 34,000, and Turning Point for emergency shelter operations, homeless prevention, and rapid rehousing in the amount of 19,000. And we based that off their accomplishment data for last year.
So that's based on data.
Correct.
What they actually did.
Correct.
So
And the amount that we got.
and they'll have to provide an accounting of
Yes.
this also,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
But that'll be next year,
Yes.
probably.
Mhm.
Okay. Any
And
questions?
we'll provide you with that data.
Questions to committee members or other council and women?
what, the Salvation Army, after going on a rant about people living in bathrooms, I did get to go visit Salvation Army facility in that freezing period in Christmas. It was excellent. I was truly impressed.
They do an amazing job.
It also, and this was a crunch, this was when, it was like 11 degrees for several days in a row. But even at that point, they were only about three quarters full. I mean, they had some capacity. So, actually, do we get an agency funding from them, or is it all taken care of through you?
That is agency. They actually get an outside from general fund as well.
They get a what?
General fund allocation as well, Salvation Army.
All right. Well, when they come, I look forward to hearing about their long-term strategy. Are they looking to expand capacity or just expand the services. It'd be interesting to
Okay.
TES is street outreach and homeless prevention. What is that, LaPerry?
What, street outreach?
Uh-huh.
It's actually one, Councilor Wilson, we had mentioned, it's been a while now, a few months ago, when we had the people along 2059 that was out. And so it's like, we go out with street outreach and try to just have people house and try to get them on in rental programs, or different rental programs, or housing subsidies or something like that. And so we go out and do our due diligence. And
Mr.
so-
Busby, one particular night, in my district, there was a man who was laying in feces.
I remember, is that the
Yeah.
photograph you circulated?
Yeah, and the street outreach came there to assist in getting him help, along with the TPD's mental health officer, as well as the ambulance services. So and they go out at night. Those people go out at night because a lot of the homeless persons, you may see them in the day, but they really move at the nighttime.
I know we've got encampments in my district,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
at least.
Is
And
there
so
an
they do go out there,
integration
too.
with the, say the drug and alcohol services, something like the thing,
At the Phoenix House?
is there an integration of things like street outreach
Yeah,
with
that- we
drug,
have
I
a-
mean,
we
because
have
a
what
lot
we-
of them, they're blended problems.
What we do is once
I like
they get
that.
in our system, which is our HMIS system, Homeless Management and Information System, they flow through the different agencies to try to get that help, whatever that service that agency provides. We get them in that system, such as through Tuscaloosa Fire and Rescue, the EMS prevention program, and stuff like that. So it's not a one. We just don't stop when we go out there. We see what agencies are available to them, whether it's housing, mental health, or whatever the case may be. So, and we provide them information with those agencies.
And what I've also experienced, Perry, is there has been those people who do that street outreach. They have a computer and the picture and a whole profile of this person, because we've seen the same people on a continuous basis. But what we've learned since last year, that there were many influxes of homeless persons from up the road, I'm gonna say that, up the road, trying to get to another place, trying to get to Mississippi, trying to get to Louisiana, and it's a great program, I will say that, and it is data driven.
Any other questions?
I don't have any
Motion
additional
approved.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Our last item is item number, oh, sorry, that was our last item.
No, it's one more.
One more.
Vicky,
Mess it up.
I don't need any help showing I don't know what I'm doing, okay? Huh? I do need some sleep, sorry. Authorization for renewal of an agreement with Tuscaloosa Housing Authority to provide TVRA under the 2016 and 2019 home program.
Yes, this is our TBRA program, which is our tenant-based rental assistance program that the Tuscaloosa Housing Authority actually manages for us. It's a renewal of $264,000. This program is a rental subsidy that provides funding for either security deposit, utility deposits, or actual rental assistance for persons who are actually trying to change their life for street outreach and stuff to that nature.
How many people does that usually reach? Right.
Roughly, probably about 20, to be honest, because it's dependent on the rent.
But let me ask you this question
Wow.
too.
Yeah.
Is-
It's you heard
I
I said
would've thought
rental
more than
subsidy.
that. Yeah, I would've thought more than that.
What happens, when you don't have the supply? Because Tuscaloosa is running into a situation where we don't have the supply housing, but we have the income to help fund housing. So what happens to that money?
So what we do in situations like that, we collectively go to the Continuum of Care, which, as we all know, is like a volunteer group or the different organizations here, to see what they can provide that cannot be provided through either this service or any other service that we provide. So, because a lot of times the agencies, they We don't want a duplication of services in anything that we do.
Right.
Because we cannot count the same people over. That's duplication of benefits and all.
Right.
That's one thing that we have to pay close attention to, especially having a policy in place since the tornado. But when it comes to duplication of services, that's where it gets confusing and tricky a lot because the agencies tend to do the same thing, but not necessarily do the same thing, if that makes sense.
And listen, I'm gonna tell you, I am for home investment partnership programs. I'm for helping those who need help. I also, not only on the financial piece, but I have a great concern, and I don't know how we do this, when it comes to when those persons who need that assistance get into neighborhoods. And there has to be some type of pipeline to show people how to integrate into a community that's already established in a neighborhood.
And I follow you, especially in West Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
We have a lot of homes that are, rental
Yeah.
properties.
Yeah.
So, that could be a very well needed
Because
conversation.
I wish it was, because I receive constant calls. I received a call a couple of weeks ago, and I'm grateful to our chief for coming out to that particular place and intervening in their situation. And so as we begin to give those resources, I want people to realize that it's a privilege to be in a community, and people want to keep the integrity of their homes.
And the issue is though, and y'all know this, there's so many people that have no expectation of ever owning their own home.
Yeah.
No idea that they can do that. I saw
Thank you, Chief.
this at Forester Gardens.
Yeah.
I mean, those folks, God help them. I'm glad we're trying to help them.
And we want to help them. We
do.
want to help them.
And sometimes your approach with the help is important. So, sometimes it's hard, you gotta call code enforcement, but they never had to be concerned about the grass before, and they definitely don't know that there's an ordinance for it. So, you kind of,
Or the
sometimes
noise.
or the noise, yeah, everybody was probably doing the same thing.
Kim, you face that, don't you?
Yeah. Just to make sure that we're all mindful of, because I don't know why Chief had to go out, but I don't want to have to call the police all the time.
Chief is chief.
Yeah, Chief is
Chief
chief.
is
I'm
chief.
happy that's your job.
I was already out.
Yeah, so some conversations, sometimes I just think that neighbors, they shouldn't have to talk to their neighbors about it, but sometimes a conversation is
It goes a long way.
sufficient. Yeah. Mhm.
Good conversation.
Yeah,
Question?
and mine are really actually technical to help me understand acronyms. So, Tuscaloosa Housing Authority, THA, got that. Home Investment Partnerships Program, all caps, HOME.
Home.
Is
I
that,
didn't come up with it.
is it ours? Is it federal?
It's
What?
federal.
It's federal,
Like we
okay.
say CDBG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. And then,
Acronyms.
and then the TBRA,
Tenant
is that a subset program?
Tenant-based.
Is that federal?
It's federal.
Is that a
It's-
subset program?
It's
under
it's a project or
home?
program under the home program called TBRA, tenant-based rental assistance.
Can't make this stuff up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So moved.
Move,
Second.
second. Any other discussion?
Thank
All
you.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, Vicki, just checking in with you, that was item number 6, correct?
it.
Okay. Our next Public Projects Committee meeting is next Tuesday, April 11th. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.